Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of New York Giants Corner here at Toilets and Titles. This is your host, Joe, aka Joe Knows. I hope all's well. I apologize, we're pushing 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The show is supposed to start really at 8 p.m., as it says in the banner up here at the top. But you know what, guys? I'm a solo show. Sometimes things take a little longer than I anticipated. I needed to take a second shower before I did the show. I was just feeling kind of I needed to relax a little bit. So I hopped in the shower before I got on here, poured myself a nice iced cup of cold Joe. Nice cup of Joe over here for Joe. Before I came in and relaxed and enjoyed you, my millions of viewers. Guys, I'm still enjoying things from the draft and this off season. It's been a wonderful off season for our beloved New York Giants. And today, I actually want to review our list of opponents for 2023. The schedule officially comes out tomorrow. They've been teasing certain aspects of the schedule, such as I believe we're playing the Eagles on Christmas Day. I'm not sure if that's home or away. Don't really care, but that's kind of cool. But as you know, one of my recent guests on the show, the uh, uh, Football Grump. I'm sorry, I was brain farting there on the name. Football Grump, one of my recent guests on the show, was saying on Twitter today is, just release the damn schedule. This isn't like a holiday thing. It's not some, it's just release the schedule. It's okay. You don't need to draw this thing out, which the NFL really loves to do. So it's not really that big of a deal to me. I really don't care. Just when it comes to the schedule and the opponents, just throw it out there, and you know what? Let's just play whatever teams are out there. Let's let it ride and let the chips fall where they may. But in terms of like the actual schedule, how it breaks down, I really don't care about. I don't. The only thing I actually do care about when it comes to scheduling is I do not like to see, not just for the Giants, but for every team, I don't like to see divisional opponents playing each other in the first few weeks. I don't think there should be any divisional opponents playing each other in the month of September. Ideally, I'd love to save all divisional games for the second half of the season, like the final 6 to 8 games, and let it be a complete battle royale at that time. Let all these teams get their sea legs under them for the first few months, and then the second half of the season, play all your divisional games. Let it be a bloodbath, a battle royale. I think that would be ideal. If you made me commissioner, if everyone voted for Joe Knows to be commissioner of the NFL, that's how I would do it because I'm going to be excited about football anyway, no matter what, no matter who's playing who on any given week. It doesn't matter to me. And I'd rather save those games that really do matter, the divisional games, to the second half of the year. So that's how I would do it. But I'm a genius. No one really gives me credit for that. But I am a genius, at least in my own mind. Anyway, before we get into the list of opponents and my very early win-loss prediction, which could very well wind up being different at the end of the summer, entering into the beginning of the season. It could wind up being very different, which I'll explain. Last year wound up being very different. And my final prediction before the season started was pretty much right on. Was pretty much right on last season. So I'm going to pat myself on the shoulder for that one. I do have to get the bells and whistles out of the way before I do that. You check the comment. Shay, hey Shay, how's it going? Hey everybody, I just want to say, and I was going to announce this, Shay. I want you to know that I was going to announce this on the show that we have a new show, a new NFL team centric show here at Toilets and Titles, and it's hosted by Shay Tweeted That. That's his Twitter handle at Shay Tweeted That. It's our LA Rams show. It's called Ramsaholic. Today was the first release. It was the first episode. Please check it out. Great job by Shay. I was really Shay. If you're still listening, just want to let you know I was super impressed by that first episode. So now we have here at Toss the Titles. We cover pretty much anything to do with football. You love football, we cover it. NFL football, college football, which is mostly handled by our sister network, the CFB Nation, college football. But and together, Toilets and Titles and CFB Nation, we combined, we are T2T Network. So basically, the CFB Nation handles all of the college content. Once those players graduate, once they are drafted into the NFL, they're ours here at Toilets and Titles. So we handle the NFL, college football, fantasy football. That was our original bread and butter, fantasy football. Um, and now we've got team centric shows. I started that off with this program, New York Giants Corner. We've got a Cowboys program which started up a few months ago, and that's with Coach and Andrew Campy, and that's called Now About Them Cowboys. You can usually catch that Sunday morning, 8 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. I'm sorry, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then now there's Shay's show, Ramsaholic. I assume it's going to be Wednesday. It's going to be the normal release. We'll see how that's going. We'll see how Shay is planning that out. I assume that's going to be a Wednesday afternoon release going forward. But Shay, great job with Ramsaholic. So I'm really excited. We have 3 NFL centric shows. I'm trying to believe in them. I love it. There's all these great fan bases out there to tap into who, like me, are constant consumers of content when it comes to their individual NFL teams. And I love that. Like I'm a maniac. My 2 passions outside of my family and my work are history and the New York Giants and football, but specifically the New York Giants. So I'm always consuming Giants content. And I figured, well, I'm always thinking about the Giants, so I might as well start my own show. And here I am. Anyway, Shay's still in there. He says, "Yeah, Shay, great job, man. I'm really, really proud for you. Really happy. That was a great episode. And looking forward to more Ramsaholic content, guys. It's going to be awesome." So, anyway, let me get the bells and whistles out of the way. If you can, please hit that like button, subscribe, give us that 5-star Apple review. Why? Because A, we deserve it. And number 2, also, it really helps us out a lot. We really appreciate that. We are now, I think, at 1,170 subscribers. We really appreciate you appreciating us. Thank you so much. But again, if you like the content, even if you don't like the content, hit the thumbs down. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's interaction with us. And if you can subscribe to Toilets and Titles, we'd really appreciate that. Also subscribe to at the CFB Nation on YouTube. They've got their own channel, but again, they're part of our Toilets and Titles network. But their Twitter handle is at the CFE Nation. Check them out. Wonderful, wonderful content they're always pumping out on the college side of football over there. Where you can find our content: Apple Podcast, YouTube, Facebook, Podbean, Spotify. We are everywhere. Toilets and Titles is everywhere. Also, our website, toiletsandtitles.com. We have all of our content that goes over there for both Toilets and Titles and the CFB Nation. So check it out. And again, we cover fantasy football, NFL, college football, draft content. We love the draft. We kicked ass this past draft season that just wrapped up. But we had well over 100 player write-ups. We had team members who went to the Senior Bowl and the Combine, and we had Jared Gray, one of our CFB Nation guys, over at the first day, the first night of the NFL drafts. So that was really cool. We were getting the picks from Jared like a minute before they were announced. Okay, guys, and he was mentioning them live here on our live broadcast of the draft. So I'm always tuned into Toilets and Titles. We always have good inside information. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we are partnered with at the CFB Nation. They handle our college content, and that is a great crew over there, just kicking butt on the college side of football. Patreon.com/Toilets and Titles. If you go there, you can learn how you can further support the show. And I just want to say thank you to our current Patreon supporters. We appreciate you appreciating us. Thank you so much. And last but not least, the bells and whistles are always growing. Last but not least, Gilded. It's an app. We use it to chat with ourselves, with like our 15 to 20 members here at Toilets and Titles and CFB Nation. But we also use it to chat with many of our subscribers. So if you're a subscriber and you'd like to get into our Gilded chat to talk anything to do with football, sometimes you're going to be during fantasy season, during the NFL season, you're going to be looking for fantasy advice. Put in the advice you're looking for. Any questions, you're going to get multiple answers, multiple responses from not just from us at Toilets and Titles, but also the other members as well. So, and George Reed is always running. He's currently, I think it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's 3 days a week right now. He's running mock drafts, mock fantasy drafts, all different types of mock fantasy drafts, like 3 times a week. So that's in the Gilded chat as well. That's a lot of fun. They had one, actually, I think they had one last night. No, they had one Monday night. So, and they probably have another one going tonight, right now, as a matter of fact. So, but George Reed's running those. If you love fantasy football, if you like doing mock drafts, see how things are breaking early right now before the fantasy season actually even starts. get on in here, reach out to us on Twitter at Toilets and Titles, and just ask if you can be accepted into Gilded, and we'll get you in there. Anyways, we have a lot of fun. There's like probably like 125, 130 members in our Gilded chat right now, so we have a lot of fun there. Anyway, guys, let's get to the topic at hand, the hot topic that I wanted to discuss, and that is our 2023 opponents. And then I'm going to give you my win-loss prediction game by game as we go. So let me bring this up over here, this handy little graphic over here. I want to say, obviously, I want to point out I got this image from Giants.com. Uh, I am pretty artistic, but I did not put this together, so I did grab it from Giants.com. So I want to give credit where it's due over here. And here are our home and away opponents for 2023. And again, the schedule comes out tomorrow. I don't really care about that. I just want to talk about the opponents. And let's talk about the strength of our schedule. Remember last year? I don't think the strength of our schedule last year was supposed to be difficult based on the previous season's results, based on the 2021 season's results. You looked at teams that had made the playoffs and had winning records, good players, good teams like the Titans, the Ravens, the Packers, and those were three teams that we wound up beating that, at the time was shocking. But those teams, listen, I'm really happy the way we performed last year, the Giants, and I think we deserved everything. I think we earned everything. But those teams didn't wind up being as good, as originally anticipated, and especially on Baltimore's side, like Lamar wound up getting injured. But when we beat Baltimore, Lamar was playing. So, but listen, you don't know. You look at the strength of schedule now, and it's based on the previous season, and things change from season to season. So, and last year the schedule looked pretty intimidating. But here's something I want to point out is that when you're a bad team like the Giants were for a long time, for many years outside of the 2016 season when we were very good, but we've been besides last year in 2016, we've been a bad team, bad organization for like 10 years. And when you're bad, every team on the schedule is going to look scary for the most part. Unless you have that team that went like 3-14 the previous season, then you're kind of like feasting your eyes. But for a long time, fans of other teams looked at the Giants on their schedule, like, hey, that's an easy win. And there were times where we stunk, the previous season, and we'd look at the schedule, and still, as fans, would be looking at it like, okay, this, maybe the Chicago Bears or this team or this crappy team, yeah, we should get that win. We might be bad, but we're not that bad. And I guarantee all those other crappy teams are looking at us like, oh, we're going to beat the Giants. So, it's funny how things do change, and how your perception can change based on your previous season's results. And it's funny. So last season, we actually going into the season, we did, if I recall correctly, our opponent's win loss percentage was something like 0.506. So they were a little over 500. That was from the 2021 season. And and it's funny, my first prediction and like maybe the beginning of the summer or the spring for last year was going to be that we went 7-10. And then at the end of training camp, and just right before the season started, I gave two predictions, two updated predictions. Just I went through the schedule game by game, and one of them was here on this show, and another one I was a guest on another Giant show called Giant Zone, and in those last two times I gave a prediction right before the season started last year, I actually had us going 10-7. Which was even surprising to me. But I liked what we saw. What I liked a lot, what I saw in the preseason. I liked what I saw a lot. I liked the development of the team. I liked the health of the team. We were relatively healthy, even though we had to start the season without Kayvon Thibodeau. But we were relatively healthy. I believed in the coaching on this team, that they were going to get this team off to the right start. I also believe that our team last year had more talent going into last season than most people, maybe more than even most Giants fans had realized. So The last two times, and it was probably within the last week of right before the 2022 season started, I gave my game by game prediction, and I wound up with a 10-7 record. That was my prediction. Well, lo and behold, we went 9-8-1. So I was just off by like really a half a game, or one game, whatever. So and we wound up making the playoffs. That was fantastic. And guys, regardless of this, you look at the schedule right now, okay? You look at the opponents, I should say, and it looks intimidating. I really don't care. I really don't care. If we play an easier schedule that's perceived as an easier schedule, that's great because it's probably going to be an easier time for us to get wins. But embrace the difficult schedules too, the difficult opponents, because those are the ones that test you the most, where you can really, really, really gauge where you are as a team that's coming up. And the Giants are a team that's coming up. I think they're the youngest or second or third youngest team in the NFL right now. And yeah, they're still getting their legs under them, especially a lot of their key players like Daniel Jones finally in his second year in a competent offense, thank God. Same offensive coordinator, same head coach. He actually has more weapons and probably a better offensive line. So I'm expecting big things from Daniel. And I'm a huge Daniel Jones fan. I love the dude. I'm glad he's around. But it's not just him, too. Let's look at Evan Neal. I'm expecting bigger and better from Evan Neal. I'm expecting Pro Bowl, from Evan Neal, but I'm expecting him to be better. I think JMS is going to step in and be like a good, solid day one starter at center for us. I think our receiving core, especially if Darren Waller stays healthy, especially if he stays healthy, we are significantly deeper. I love what the front office did this offseason in terms of how we used our resources. We had some cap space to work with this year, a decent amount, and they made the most of it. It wasn't like we had like there are some teams out there that had like $80 million in cap space to work with. We didn't have that, but we had a fair amount, and we were still able to retain our quarterback on a big contract. We still tagged Saquon, which is I hope we extend Saquon. I hope we're able to come to an agreement and get like a nice 3 or 4 year extension with him. But so that even incorporates his tag. Because he's right now he's playing on the even though I don't think he signed the tag. I assume he's going to play. But let's say he plays on the tag and it's a little over $10 million. That's fully on the cap. But still, we were able to also extend Dexter Lawrence. We got Bobby Okereke. We brought in Paris Campbell. These were good contracts, like these 1 year deals with Paris Campbell and a few other players as well. So it really helped us settle out. We had a lot of good depth. Now I think we're still lacking that true number one wide receiver. I don't think that player is on this team. Um, but I like how we really filled up our arsenal. We do have various types of different weapons with different capabilities, but we are lacking, I think, that true nuke. We're lacking the nuke in our arsenal, and that is like an elite wide receiver one. But that's okay. Like I'm not going to try to push everything to get it when it happens, it happens. Darren Waller is a huge addition. If he can stay healthy, I am so excited about how Kafka and Dable are going to use him. So we've had a lot of improvements. So, however, I'll say this: I don't think last year was a fluke. I think last year was this team earned that 9-8-1 record for various reasons besides their own improvement and their own talent. They earned it. Um, I do think that you look at this list of opponents. I like it. I don't mind playing the tough teams. Maybe we lose. We probably lose more games this year. Maybe we don't make the playoffs. But if we're losing, I hope we're playing. We're these teams that are tier above us. I still think we this offseason, I think we moved up within our tier, which is we're a tier two team, but I don't think we've leveled up to the tier one teams like Philadelphia, like Dallas, like the 49ers, the Chiefs. The Bills, I think we can actually take on. Yeah, I'll throw the Dolphins up there too as a tier one team right now. And so those teams, like I don't think we're there yet. I think we need some more excellent talent, but I do think we're an improved team. I think we improved within our tier, along with like the Detroit Lions, who could wind up making that jump into the tier one teams. I love the way that team is building. Um, but I'm really, really excited to get the season underway. Hopefully, when we do start the season eventually in September, we're a healthy team. That's been a big bugaboo of ours for a long time is not being healthy. Hopefully, when we start, we are healthy. But I'm excited to start the season. I'm not afraid. I don't care about how difficult the schedule is. Line the teams up and play them, and that's it. Because you know what? If you're beating these really, really good teams, there's no better test of who you are than accomplishing that. If we actually beat, I think Dallas Cowboys are a tier one team. I think we can get a win against them this year, whether that's home or on the road, whatever. I think we can get a win against them this year. I don't think we're going to be able to beat the Eagles just yet. I think they're just too stacked. I think the Cowboys can match up against the Eagles pretty well, but I think we're still behind. We're still significantly behind the Eagles. Like I said, like we still need more talent, but we also need some more star players. That's what we need. We need some like big time, some more big time players. Like another one or two, and I think that'll give us over the hump into like a tier one team. But I think it's going to be a good season, man. If everyone stays healthy, for the most part, within reason, I think we're going to surprise again. I think a lot of people think we were a fluke last year, and I don't see it that way at all. Um, with our significant improvement with our off-season acquisitions, I think we're going to surprise again. Let's go through the 2023 opponents right now. Okay. Oh, and before I do that, just real quick, I just wanted to point out that I'm just reading here from Giants.com on the strength of schedules, and we do have the hardest strength of schedule is the Philadelphia Eagles. The Miami Dolphins have the second um, hardest strength of schedule, and the three teams tied for third are the Giants, the Patriots, and the Cowboys. So Giants, Patriots, and the Cowboys are all tied for third on the hardest um, uh, list of opponents for the 2023 list of games. Okay, so but guys, it is what it is. And the greater the glory, guys, the greater the glory. When we actually, if you beat these games, it's like when the USA beat the Soviet Union in 1980 at Lake Placid. The greater the glory, So anyway, I do think we've made significant improvements, and I think we can match up better against many of these teams. And I think we have quite a few tier one teams that we're going against this year, or in my mind, like the Dolphins, I think in my mind, have leaped into the tier one teams. They still have to prove it, but I think they're a tier one team now. Anyway, let's do this game by game prediction here. I do think that we're going to probably wind up getting. We only had one win in our division last year, which is not something I saw coming. I thought we were going to get more like three wins and go 3-3 in our division last year. Didn't happen. We went 1-4-1 in the division last year. That's okay. We wound up with a 9-8-1 record, so it's all good. But I do think we're going to do better within the division this year. All right, so for the home games, I'm going to have this. As a matter of fact, let me write this down so I can keep track of what we do in the win-loss record. And again, this is the early season, the early, this is the spring prediction. So it's the first one I'm giving here. And don't be surprised. This is the first time I'm doing it right here live. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a worse record than we do last year. Okay. But I also feel like I'm not going to be disappointed. Say if we, instead of going 9-8-1, say we go like, 8-9. I'm not going to be all that disappointed if we're losing like those, games that we lose to really tough opponents. If we are losing close games, if we play really well, there are plenty of times when you're a team that's still developing where you want to, as long, for me, I'm a patient fan and I know where this team is. Like, we're not an elite team. I don't have dreams of the Super Bowl this year, but I want to see improvement across the board. And I think it's possible, given a very, very difficult schedule on the face of it, that we can improve as a team, and maybe it might not be reflected in the win-loss record. Okay, so we'll see. But this is the first time I'm giving my win-loss prediction. And I'm doing it live. First time I'm really going across, really taking a deep look at our opponents. So, all right, the home games, Dallas. I think we are going to split with Dallas this year. I do think they're a tier one team, but I think they're a tier one team unlike Philadelphia or even unlike the 49ers or the Chiefs. I think Dallas is a tier one team that we can actually compete with now. I think they're better than we are on paper, but I think we can, I don't want to say steal a game. That sounds kind of like cheap. Like if we were to get a win against the Eagles, I would say we're stealing one there. I think they're just significantly better than they are. That team is just so deep and talented. I think Dallas, I think we match up with okay. And listen, we haven't beaten Dallas in years. I realize that. This is also a better Giants team that we've been in, that we've been in a long time as well. And I like Dallas has made some upgrades. People are poo-pooing their draft class. I thought their draft class was pretty solid. Dallas doesn't really have many holes, and I thought they acquired some pretty good players. To that they added to the team. Like like Mozzie. I thought Mozzie was actually a smart pick for them late in the first round. So and they picked up some other decent players too. They also made some really good trades in the offseason. They got the wide receiver Cooks, I believe, from Houston, and they got Gilmore, the cornerback from the Colts. He used to be on the Patriots. He's got a few Super Bowl rings. Uh, he should be starting opposite of Diggs in their secondary. And I don't know. I have a feeling Gilmore still plays at a high level, but say he's still not playing. Say he's not playing like he did in his prime for the Patriots. He's one of those guys, Gilmore, who I think they only gave up like a fifth round pick to get the guy. He's a savvy veteran who's going to help that team out a lot, not just on the field with his play, but his locker room presence too. Having someone like Gilmore in your locker room when you're a team who's like who's got the talent to make the Super Bowl like the Cowboys do, a player like Gilmore can make all the difference in the world. That was such a great pickup for them. Only gave up a fifth round pick if I recall correctly. It wasn't much they gave up, and I think it's like a 1 year deal, so they're not overpaying the dude. I think it was such a savvy pickup. So the Cowboys kind of quietly, I think, had a really, really good off season. So they improved their team as well. I don't think they really lost anyone that couldn't be replaced, to be honest with you. But I do think that the Giants got significantly better this year. And so I'm going to give us a win. We haven't done it in years, but listen, things got to change sometime. I'm going to give us a win against Dallas at home. Okay, the Eagles. I'm until we beat the Eagles are so damn good. I've got Dallas, like I said, Dallas in tier one with the Eagles, but I think the Eagles are, you know, at the very top level of the tier one teams, along with Kansas City, and those were the two teams in the Super Bowl last year. I think Dallas is a tier one team, and I think they can match up with the Cowboys, and I really don't think we can, but I think we can match up with the Cowboys a little bit. I think we can get a win at home. I think we will get a win at home. At least whether it's home or away, I think we'll get a win against Dallas this year. Philadelphia, I'm going to even at home. I'm going to give that as a loss. I think there's just too big of a gap in talent and depth that we have not yet caught up there, and I'm going to give that a loss. Washington, I'm really intrigued by Sam Howell. I'm not saying that Sam Howell is going to have Patrick Mahomes, but I like Sam Howell coming into the draft last year when Washington got him, which I thought they got him in the third round. They got it. It was pointed out to me recently I was wrong, which is rare. But it was pointed out to me that Washington got Sam Howell in the fifth round. That previous year, Sam Howell had entered the college season as probably the top ranked quarterback in college football, at least for the expected draft class, the 2022 draft class. By the end of that season, that wasn't the case, but people have to realize when he was at UNC that in his final season at UNC, he lost all of his top weapons, his top two wide receivers, his top two running backs to the NFL draft. So he went into his final season at UNC with lacking any top tier talent, and it really affected him. I think Washington really potentially. You can say this about any quarterback, but I'm serious when I think that they've really gotten a steal with Sam Howell, and I was very intrigued that they did not really pick up a quarterback in this year's draft, not in the first round or anything like that. They wound up getting a quarterback in the mid rounds or late rounds. I don't recall, but they didn't get one in the first round when they could have, and you know, like a Will Levis, they didn't do that. So they're rolling with Howell, and I'm kind of cool with that. I want to see what Howell can do. And obviously, they're cool with that because they could have taken Will Levis if they wanted to. And I think Will Levis, Tennessee scored a home run when they got him in the second round. I think Will Levis was absolutely first round talent at quarterback. And so, but I do like Sam Howell more. I like Sam Howell more coming out of college than Will Levis actually. And so, listen, I'm not rooting for Washington against the Giants, but I kind of part of me is kind of rooting for Sam Howell. I gotta say, but and I think Washington had a nice offseason. I like their draft class. I know they got dinged by everyone for taking Emmanuel Forbes. I think he might have been in the first round. I think he might have been the second. He was either the second or the third corner off the board in the first round. I loved Emmanuel Forbes. And if Deontay Banks and Porter were both gone by the time the Giants picked, I had said multiple times that I would have been very cool with the Giants taking Emmanuel Forbes at pick number 25 because I felt like he was worthy of a back end first round pick. The dude can cover. You can, people can they can talk about maybe his inability to he's not really like a good run defender. If you're playing cornerback, the first thing I want you to be able to cover, and Emmanuel Forbes can do that. I thought it was actually a pretty cool pick, Forbes. He was either the second or third cornerback off the board. I think he was the third. I think he won after Gonzalez. But that did take me by surprise. But I also kind of like the Dukes. I like Forbes. Um, and I thought Washington overall had a good draft. And I think they have talent. And I like Ron Rivera. Washington's had a pretty good amount of talent for a few years now. It all comes down to the quarterback. The quarterback position's been killing them. And I guess I'm not betting on Sam Howell, but I'm not betting against him either. I'm rooting for him just because I like him a lot. I just don't want him beating my Giants, but I'm rooting for Sam Howell. But I'm going to take listen, just like the Eagles always have our number, even when we are on paper like equal with them in the past, or even slightly better, the Eagles always eat our lunch. We always just kind of have a knack for beating Washington too. So I'm definitely giving us a win against Washington at home, even though I said, mark my words, if Sam Howell turns out to be a legit NFL quarterback, he could really take that Washington team to new heights. He really can because they still have good talent. That is still a talented team on both sides of the ball. And he's got some really good offensive weapons to work with. So I'm going to give that as a win for the Giants, that Washington game at home. Green Bay, another young quarterback. I believe in Jordan Love, guys. I believe in Jordan Love. I think Green Bay had a very nice draft class. And Bobby, one of our new contributors here at Tulsa Titles, is a huge time Packers fan. He's been putting out a lot of good shorts, and he's very, very excited about the double dip at tight end that the Packers had. They Packers had a really good draft class. I liked it a lot, and I think Jordan Love is going to prove to be. I don't think. Listen, I don't think he's going to be necessarily Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre, and those are like two legendary quarterbacks we're talking about. So that's a really high ceiling to have to reach. But I think Jordan Love is. I have a feeling he's going to wind up being their quarterback of the present and the future. I think he is going to be their franchise quarterback. How good of a franchise quarterback? I don't know, but I have a feeling he's going to wind up being their long term quarterback. I think he's going to have a good season and he's going to wind up being the long term quarterback. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to give us again. I think we are a significantly improved team. I'm going to give us a win in that game against Green Bay at home. The Jets. I think the Jets, with the acquisition of Aaron Rodgers, are now a tier one team. It's not proven, like the Eagles, Chiefs, 49ers, the Bengals you could throw in there too. It's not proven, but I'll remind you about this. The Jets lost the Jets record last year. They were 7-10. They lost their final 6 games. So they were 7-4 at one point, and that was with really no quality NFL quarterbacks, um, which was shocking. You had the trio of, Mike White, what's his name, the former Ravens quarterback, Joe Flacco, and Zach Wilson, and they still got 7 wins. Okay, and that was with Brees Hall. That was with Brees Hall going down fairly early in the season. Remember, the Jets last year they had rightfully so, the defensive rookie player of the year in Sauce Gardner. They had the offensive rookie of the year in Garrett Wilson. And they also have the guy who I'm sure would have been the offensive rookie player of the year, Brees Hall, if he hadn't gotten injured. The Jets got Aaron Rodgers, who I believe last year Maybe he's not going to be 2016 Aaron Rodgers, 2012 Aaron Rodgers, but I think he's going to be. I think 85 or 90% of 2016 Aaron Rodgers is more than good enough for a team like the Jets that are really talented on both sides of the ball. I think he takes them into a tier one team. And I'll tell you what, I got a feeling, I got a feeling, I got a feeling I'm going to put that game against the Jets as a loss. Don't hate me, my fellow Giants fans. Don't hate me. I see I've got 7 comments. All right, let me address everyone. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining. Don't get me wrong. George. Oh, Justin. Justin was here. Hey, Justin, if you're still there, hey, buddy. Looking forward to our. Justin is hosting a fun day draft Friday night on professional wrestling. I'm going to be there. We're going to be discussing our many favorite categories and picking many different things having to do with pro wrestling. I'm really looking forward to that. That is Friday night. Uh, and George says you can count that L at Miami. We're going to get that, George. By the way, George, I'm not sure if you heard me talking up the Dolphins before, but I did say that I now consider the Dolphins to be a tier one team. They're not proven yet like the Eagles and the 49ers and the Chiefs and maybe the Bengals, but I think Miami is a tier one elite team now. So we will get to that game against Miami, and I'll probably have it down as a loss. Probably will. Jacoby Brissett will be the commander starter by week 5. I hope you're wrong, Justin. I really hope you're wrong. I'm rooting for Sam Howell. You know what, Justin? Put it on the big board. Put it on the big board, Justin. If you're still listening, put it on the big board. I'll take that bet. Justin says that Jacoby Brissett will be the commander starter by week 5. I say Sam Howell will be the. I say he will be the commander starter in week 5 unless he's injured. Okay. He says, George says, Jets face the worst set of QBs all year long. They are trash. I'm telling you, George, you and Dolphins fans, Buffalo fans, guys, you sound like you're whistling past the graveyard. You kind of sound like you're whistling past the graveyard. But that AFC East is going to be fun to watch. It's going to be what the NFC West should have been last year. Hooked on a feeling. That's right, Justin. That's right. Fun Day Draft is recording Friday. Oh, but we're dropping it Saturday morning. Okay, cool. So me and Justin and a few of the other guys, we're doing our Fun Day Draft. Again, pro wrestling. We're recording it Friday night, but we're dropping it Saturday morning. This is why Joe knows. See, George knows that Joe knows. That's why I love George. George knows that Joe knows. That's right. But again, let's see. And George is trying. George, our in-house Dolphins fan, is trying to intimidate me with his Dolphins. But George, like I said, I do have, I have the Dolphins marked as a tier one team now. But now it's up to them to live up to my lofty standards. It's up to the Dolphins. Let's see if they can do it. All right. So I left off at the Jets. One, two. I gave us a loss against the Jets. Um, George says graveyard. Is that because Aaron Rodgers will be 973 years old to start the season? But he's still playing. He's still playing. I think last year was an anomaly, and I think he needed out of Green Bay. We'll see. Listen, it could be that he's just not the same Aaron Rodgers. But like I said, if he's like 85% of what Aaron Rodgers used to be, that'll be good enough for the Jets and the talent they have on that team. That AFC East is going to be a bloodbath. That is going to be exciting to see. All right, guys. So the Patriots. All right, I'll give us a win against the Patriots, but man, Bill Belichick, I love Bill Belichick. All Giants fans love Bill Belichick. He is he is golden to us. We love that man. Um, and I can never count out the Patriots team that's led by Bill Belichick. But I'm gonna give us a win. I'm gonna give us a win against Bill Belichick's Patriots. Not a knock against the Patriots, but I'm gonna give us a win. I think we've improved enough that we can handle Bill Belichick and his defensive schemes. LA Rams, Shay, if you're still out there, no offense, I'm giving us a win against the Rams, even if, even though Cooper Kupp will be back and Stafford will be back, and you got your great head coach. I think we're ahead of the Rams now, and they're Rams are in a listen. They did a great thing in winning the Super Bowl the previous season, and now it's just time to restock. That's all. It's just time to reload. Reload with young talent, move in a different direction. They got the head coach to do that. So the Rams are going to be. I don't know about this year, but fairly soon the Rams are going to be back in a pretty good position. I think reloaded, restocked, and ready to go. Um, I'm going to give the Giants the win against the Rams at home. So one, two, three, four, five, six. One, two, six. Okay, so seven. All right, so and then Seattle. Listen, Seattle had another good offseason. They had another good draft class, man. They did. Seattle, man, I love the way they've been drafting Seattle last year and this year. Man, Seattle, woof, they've been kicking butt. Um, okay, so I'm gonna give us a win against Seattle though. Listen, they beat us last year fair and square. But when they also played us too, and don't get me wrong, I give Seattle credit. Seattle had a really good season. Geno Smith, God bless him. You know, the year he had last year, he earned that extension that he got with Seattle. Cool for Geno, cool for him. You know, they're a talented team. They still got the right head coach for them, and they've improved themselves this offseason too. And they got my man, Julian Love. Giants fans, we're going to miss Julian Love more than many of you realize. I really do. We need someone to step up in that second safety position. I don't know who it's going to be just yet. Hopefully, it's going to be one of the young guys that we drafted. Um, but Julian Love was a solid player, solid safety, solid slot corner, solid nickel corner. He was that of such man. Seattle's done such a good job with the secondary, man. You got my boy Julian Love, who I love, and I think is somewhat underappreciated here in Giants land, and I think we're gonna miss that guy. Anyway, I'm gonna give us a win. I'm gonna give us a win against Seattle this year. Also, when we played Seattle last year too, like our wide receiving core wasn't really set. Like we finally, when we actually got Hodginson, and we were able to roll out, and we got Bellinger back too after his eye near catastrophic eye injury. We finally had a decent rotation of receiving weapons out there. These guys were not elite by any bunch, by any measure, but we finally had stability. We finally had stability, and that was Isaiah Hodgins, Darius Slayton, and who was the little dude that just went to Kansas City? Richie James, and we had Bellinger. And these are not household names, but they're quality NFL receivers, and they were all out there every single game. We finally had stability. We didn't have that when we played Seattle. I give Seattle its due. It doesn't mean we would have beaten them necessarily, even if we had stability at those positions finally by the time we played Seattle. But I think it would have been better. It would have been a better game for us. But anyway, I'm giving this a win against Seattle. So at home, I have us going. We have 8 games at home. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Okay, at home. I have us going 6-2 at home. All right, let's do the away games. Dallas. I think we'll split with Dallas, like I said. So whether we get the win at home or we get the win on the road, I got a feeling we're going to split with Dallas. So I'll give us the loss in Dallas. Eagles, I'm giving us a loss. Like I said, I think they're too good for us right now. And if we win, it's going to be them making a lot of mistakes, I think, and us making no mistakes. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're there yet. Washington, I'll give us a win. We did kind of split with them last season, but I think we're a different team this year than we were last season as well. I think we're definitely an improved team. Um, and listen, we had one win and we had one tie. It should have been a tie. I thought we were significantly better than Washington, and we let them tie that game. Shouldn't have happened. I'm going to give us the second win against Washington, though. So I'm predicting that we're going to sweep the season series against Washington. Let's see the Saints. I'm gonna listen. They got Carr. I like Carr. Carr is a really good top end. He's not a number one tier elite tier quarterback, but he's in that tier right below. Carr is a really really good quarterback. He's gonna be playing in the dome in New Orleans. They've got Olave. They've got who was the rookie running back they just got this year that I was really happy with. They got I forgot which one. I forgot which one, but they've made improvements themselves. Seattle's not going to be a pushover. Carr is going to be a huge difference for Seattle. And we're playing in New Orleans. That's normally been a house of horrors for us historically in New Orleans. But then again, those are the Drew Brees years. We actually did win. I think it was 2 years ago in New Orleans, and one of Daniel Jones's best games actually. And we came back and won. I think we were down by like 14 points at one point. Came back, tied it up at the end of the game. I think we went in overtime and we scored the game-winning touchdown. But that was one of Daniel Jones's best games ever. That was a really good game 2 years ago against New Orleans, and we got the win. Um, Looks like the Taysom Hill era is over in New Orleans. Even though I do like Taysom Hill, I'm not knocking. I'm not. He's not. I'm just saying he's not a starting quarterback or anything. Uh, I'm going to give us. Yeah, I'm going to give us the win in New Orleans. I'm going to give us the win in New Orleans. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. All right, the Raiders. Rich's Frito Bandito's Raiders. I like a lot of the moves they made this season as well. Um, I like the direction they're going in. I know they moved on from Carr. They went with Garoppolo. I like their draft class. I thought they did really well. I like some of the pickups they made in the offseason. But I do think we're better than the Raiders right now. Even though it's away in Vegas, I'm going to give us the win there. Man, right now, I don't want to jinx it, but I'm giving us more wins than I thought. Arizona. Arizona always scares me because I think we have yet to beat a Kyler Murray Cardinals team. We didn't play them last year, which would have been nice when they were down in the dumps. But the previous 2 seasons when we played them, they kicked our asses. Uh, but I forgot who their new head coach is. I forgot who their new head coach is. Um, oh man, Arizona with Kyler Murray. If he's healthy, if they still have DeAndre Hopkins, man, I can't count that team out. And I think over the past few years, the Cardinals have actually done a really nice job of building up the defensive side of the ball too. Cardinals scare me. I'm going to give us a win. I'm going to give us a win. I'm not counting Kyler Murray out. I know most people are counting him out already because of last season. I'm not going to count that guy out yet. For a short quarterback, man, he sure is talented. The 49ers, I'll put that down as a loss. Like the Eagles, we can't compete with those tier of teams yet. I think Dallas, again, to repeat myself, I think they're a tier one team, but I think we match up better against them than we do Philadelphia or 49ers. I don't think we can really compete too well against the 49ers and the Eagles just yet. I'll have to believe it. I have to see it to believe it. Dolphins, George Reed's still in there. The Dolphins. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put it down as a loss. And I do think the Dolphins are a better team, George. I do. I think they're a better team than my Giants. But I can kind of see us going down there and pulling off an upset. I can kind of see it, but I'm going to give us the loss over there. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to give us a loss in Miami. And I do think they're a better team. And then at Buffalo, man, man, I'll tell you, that's interesting. I don't know. Do I have the balls? It's not the balls. Do I actually like? I have to say, I'm really thinking about this one. Buffalo, like, you know, it's almost like common sense tells us that Buffalo is better. I'm not so sure about that. Listen, Josh Allen is a fantastic quarterback. This isn't about Josh Allen. Diggs. I'm just thinking about the Buffalo defense. I'll tell you, man, this is crazy. This is crazy. I'm going to give us a win against Buffalo. I think the two best teams in the AFC East this year, and I've got quite a few Buffalo Bills fans out there too. So not if, but when you listen to this video, don't be upset at me. I like the Bills a lot, and I do root for the Bills often. I'm a huge fan of the Marv Levy teams. Um, I think you guys need some more superstars on your team. I think the Dolphins and the Jets have taken huge leaps, and I think Buffalo had a short window of dominance, of being able to dominate that division after Tom Brady left the Patriots. And I think that window was closed. Not that you can't still win the division, not that you could not even win a Super Bowl this year or next year. But in terms of that window that you had, like the Patriots had for a very long time of like just dominating your division, it was short. and I think the window's closed. But again, not that you can't win the division, Buffalo, but it's not you're not going to be dominating anymore. It's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be like hand-to-hand combat. Like me, I'm 51 years old. I hand-to-hand combat in the Spanish American War. All right, I still have a musket ball in my left butt cheek from that war, and I was hand-to-hand combat, man. Just like when I fought San Juan Hill, 1898. Um, that's what it's gonna be like in that division. It's gonna be nasty. Um, Bayonets. Okay, so I'm gonna give us a win against Buffalo. Maybe Dable's got you guys. Maybe he's got the Bills. Maybe he knows how to handle the Bills. So the away record. Let's look at this. One, two, three, four. Four losses. One, two, three, four, five. Wow. I'm shocking myself. I have us going 5-4 on the road. Guys, I got us going 6-2 at home and 5-4 on the road. And that gives us 11-6 for our 2023 New York Giants. Now, like I said earlier, I see the comments in there. I'm going to get there in a second. Like I said earlier, when I did my prediction around this time last year, I had us going 7-10. When I gave my final two predictions at the very end of preseason, right before the regular season started last year, I went through those games again. I gave us a final record of 10-7, based on how good I felt about the team coming out of um, out of preseason. I gave us 10-7, and that was just like my two times I gave the prediction like just a week leading up to the start of the 2022 season. I predicted 10-7 last year, but that was later on. Like I said, it was close to the start of the regular season. I predicted 10-7. We wound up going 9-8-1, so I missed by like half a game. I gave us a half a game too much. I was a little too optimistic there, but we went 9-8-1 and we made the playoffs. This time I have us going 11-6, which I got to say I'm even surprised by. Given the strength of the schedule, I'm even surprised by 11-6. Dang, am I drinking the Kool-Aid? We'll see. But I will be giving the predictions again at definitely right before the start of the season, the 2023 season, and maybe I'll do it again before that. Maybe I'll do that again before that. Maybe like in like June and July. Maybe I'll do it a few times, but I'll definitely give it my updated predictions right before the start of the season. But right now, I have us going 11-6, and hopefully, I have us. I keep it. I see it that way before we start. I'm surprised myself. I didn't expect that. Justin says, all right. Justin says, I can't find the doc for the board bet, but I'm down with that one. You got it, Justin. I think Howell is going to be. Yeah, I think Howell will be the starting quarterback, week 5. I guess that's the board bet, you know. But I just, in the grander scheme of things, bigger picture, I think he's going to be, even if he doesn't start as the quarterback in the beginning of the season, I think he's going to take over by week 4, and I think he'll finish the season as a starting quarterback for um, for Washington. I do. Justin Stevens says that he's got the Giants going 9-8 and potentially a wild card spot. I can live with that, Justin. Given the strength of the schedule, I can live with that. And I even said earlier, like guys, we went 9-8-1 last year. I'm sorry, not we went 9-7-1 last year. Um, right, 9-7, yeah, 9-7-1. If we had gone, say, if we go like 8-9 this year, I can still live with that myself, because like I said, this is like the second or third youngest team on paper still. We still got a little ways to go, and for me it's going to be like, hey, how did we play against these tough teams? How did we lose the games that we lost? How did we lose? Did the offense still put up points? Did we lose because maybe we're injured on defense? I got to see how it goes. But I have us going 11-6, dude. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, so Justin, yeah, he's got us go 9-8. I can live with 9-8. Given the schedule, I can live with it. Will be a good game. Yes, it will. Um, y'all can beat Buffalo. I think we can do. I don't honestly, George. I don't think I don't have us beating the Dolphins. If everything being equal, if everyone's healthy, I don't think I can. I can't see us keeping up with the firepower that Miami has. If Tua is healthy, I can't see us keeping up with the firepower that Miami has. And Miami's defense is good, man. And they got Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio is the defensive coordinator. Damn, that is such a good signing. So yeah, and he's one of the reasons why, in my mind, if Tua is healthy, Miami's absolutely a tier 1 team, absolutely. And they had a great offseason too. Some of the getting Jalen Ramsey, holy cow. Skylar Thompson almost beat Buffalo in the playoffs. I know. There's something up in Buffalo, and what it is, I don't think they have enough talent. I don't think they have enough star talent. They got Josh Allen, they have Stephon Diggs. You know, that's really it. They need some difference makers on defense. I don't think they really have that. I think they've got some good solid players on defense. I don't think they have like that. They need like some star players on defense. Uh, that star talent, difference making talent. I think they've got two difference makers, proven difference makers in Buffalo. Dalton Kincaid's gonna be interesting, but he's gonna be a rookie. He's gonna be interesting how they use him. But really, Buffalo needs more difference makers, and that's why I think we can beat Buffalo. That's why I'm predicting. That's why I'm predicting that the Giants are going to win that game. Better hope Skylar can bring it this season. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Let's see. I know Justin probably is afraid, for Tua. That listen, I agree too. Like Tua, man, you got to stay healthy. That offensive line has got to protect him, but Tua's got to stay healthy, man. It's gonna ride. It's gonna ride on Tua. Anyway, guys, that's the end of this program. I had a great time going through this. It's funny. Originally, I was like, all the other content creators are talking about the opponents, who they're playing. Normally, it's not really my thing because I don't really care. I'm just like line the teams up, play the games, and let the chips fall where they may. Even if we lose against a hard team, hey, how did it go? How did we lose? Let's gauge based on that. So I don't really care about that too often, but I gotta say this was fun. I think this was fun. Guys, thanks for being in the chat. I really appreciate it. Fun show, Joey. I appreciate you, brother. Have a great night. A great night. You too, Justin, and Justin Stevens, our in-house Indianapolis Colts fan, and his team had a great offseason. I'm still trying to talk Justin off the ledge when it comes to my man Anthony Richardson, who I think is going to be a fantastic quarterback as long as they develop him and they give him time. He's a Colts fan, and he wasn't crazy about the Richardson pick, but I loved it. Anyway, guys, just a friendly reminder, if you can, the Twitter handles from me and all of my colleagues here at Toilets of Titles and at the CFB Nation. If you can give them all a follow, we'd really appreciate it. Also, just a friendly reminder, final one, to please hit that like button, subscribe, hit that bell, and give us that 5-star Apple review. Why? Number one, because it helps us out a lot. Number two, we deserve it. We've earned it. Just kidding. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good night, and I'll be releasing my Jalen Height video sometime very, very soon. Okay, guys, and there's one more comment I'm going to address, then I'm Splitsville. Great show, Joe. George, really appreciate it, man. Good luck to Miami. Looking forward to talking NFL football with you guys soon. Everybody, Joe Knows is out. Have a good night. See you soon.